All right, everyone, wanted to give y'all an update on what we've got going on. Oh, that looks like it's blurry. Maybe not. All right, y'all, wanted to give y'all an update on what we've got going on. Never did get these tomatoes in the ground. Instead, we just left them in pots, but they're going crazy, so we'll go with it. We've got some rose bushes. Our fig trees are growing really well. These we just put in the ground this year, so we don't expect them to fruit at all. You can see them all the way down this row. And we got this awesome large tortoise statue last weekend. So we'll figure out a cool place for him to go, but right now he's just hanging out. And this other pot, pretty neat, different. All right, so we have our fig trees, blueberry bushes are over here. They're of course done for the season. But wow, these guys have grown tremendously over the last, I'd say 6 months or so. Check this guy out. Oh, he does have a fig on him. So this one was root growth from our massive fig tree on the back side of the property. Pretty excited about him. And a month or so, maybe 2 months ago at this point, our Mecklenburg County Edible Landscape Initiative signs came in. You can learn more about that. You can learn about it on Mecklenburg County's website to learn more. So then over here, we of course have our box turtle enclosure. The box turtles have been out more over the last week or so. Oh, there we go. Check him out. This is Brussels sprout, everybody. Hey, buddy. Enjoying some sunshine. The weather has cooled off significantly over the last couple of weeks. And we've got some much needed rain, so the box turtles have been out way more frequently, which is incredible. And then over here, we have Thor basking in the sun and staying cool as well in some mud. Hey, big guy. And these two live together for the time being. They got along just fine, so we said, hey, we'll keep them in one enclosure together. That is Artemis, who was incredibly shy when Artemis first arrived here a few months ago and has really come out of her shell. I know. We call her a she. We actually don't know if she's male or female at this point, since she's only 3 or 4 years old, and we'll figure it out as she tells us. And then this one here, this is Pan, who came to us a few months ago. And this guy was found wandering around in a backyard, and they said this is not a native tortoise, or, well, they thought it was a turtle at first. And so we took Pan in, and Pan has been doing great addition here, and very, very social. So he's a big hit when we have open houses. No, Muggs. Muggs thinks these little treats are for him, and he likes to help me clean up the enclosures, which is absolutely disgusting. So hey, can you not? They're fresh, I know. Muggs! Everybody yell at Muggs with me. He knows better, but he does it anyway. And then over here hanging out with us, this is Creed. Y'all are pretty familiar with Creed. This guy is super friendly. Hey, buddy. And we received a call, well, an email rather, a few weeks ago that somebody else needs to rehome their Sulcata. So I'll be out here after this video building out another enclosure for our newest addition, who arrives tomorrow morning. There we go. Hey, Pan. Hey, buddy. Don't step in your poop, please. Muggs, we don't need your help, even though I know you wish you could. Muggs! Ah! Gross! Well, there you go, you guys. This is life here. So I'm going to stop recording so I can clean up this enclosure before Muggs decides to do it for me. We'll be back later with more. Hey, Brussel. I found this worm. You want it? Box turtles are fantastic hunters, and since this enclosure is all of their natural area and what they would normally be living in, they do hunt in here, and there's lots of different insects and worms and grubs for them to eat. However, I like to also provide them additional supplements as I can. So when I find a worm or a grub in the yard, I bring it on over to these guys. What do you think, buddy? I'd say you look pretty satisfied. No, don't worry, Muggs is here, in case anybody was wondering. There's nothing in here for you, buddy. Come on, guys, let's get out of the mud. We are watching my brother's dog this weekend, who grew up with Chance for the first 3 or 4 years of her life. So they're having a great time being reunited, and Muggs enjoys having another playmate as well. So they are out and about with me. We've had a fair amount of rain, like I said, last couple of weeks, so have we got lots of mud, which you can see Muggs also thoroughly enjoys. So he'll get another bath today before we go back inside the house. And I want to take y'all over here to check out some things going on in the garden. We just added a bunch of pepper plants, and please don't ask me what all of the different species are, because I could not tell you. I do know that 2 of them, these variegated ones, which are just gorgeous, are called fish peppers. Look at these. And not only is the plant variegated, but the pepper itself is variegated. So I have not tried one yet, looking forward to that. And we have a few other peppers that we put in here as well. They do have a little bit of shock from being transplanted, but I know they'll do just fine here in a little while. Here's our black-eyed Susan that just showed up from our pollinator bed. Ended up in the gravel. We have a couple of them, so I left them. And this was a random watermelon seed that my mother planted to see if it would grow, and my goodness, grow it did. So we'll see if we get any little watermelons off of it. Either way, pretty neat. We have catnip down here in the bottom in these 2 pots, which are doing great. Oh, there's a bee right there hanging out with the catnip. And then over here are shishito peppers, and this bed didn't do too great. I don't know what got into that, but something ate it and had a good time. This one's doing pretty good. And more tomato plants that are doing really well, and a cucumber plant that we've gotten a few cucumbers off of, and looks like it's still going strong even though it's not really cucumber season anymore. We've got 1 cucumber growing. Some more tomatoes. And then in this bed we have some okra, which is growing strong. and more shishito peppers, which are also still doing fairly well and still growing, so we'll leave them in here until they decide they're done. We have a few other beds I wanted to show y'all. This is tomato and basil in here. Basil is looking great. We'll be able to make a fair amount of pesto with all the basil that we have growing out here. And then in this bed is our strawberry plants, which are spreading beautifully. And we have a rosemary bush here in this corner and a rosemary bush in this front corner. And then this is a chocolate mint plant, which I'm going to have to cut up and divide. It is in a pot. You do not want to put mint just right into the ground or in your garden, because it does, as you see here, spread like crazy. So it's already rooting. So I'm going to cut up a bunch of these shoots and pot them up and give them out to anybody who would like some chocolate mint. So if you'd like some chocolate mint, hit us up. We can make your dreams come true. And then over here, this is our North Carolina Wildlife Federation bed. This is our pollinator habitat. And these guys are growing strong. I frequently find lots of different pollinators flying around here. And then y'all are gonna laugh, because just like up front, somehow all the black-eyed Susans ended up not in the bed, and instead they're in our gravel. But hey, here we are. How pretty are these though? And we've got a little bug hanging out right there doing its thing. And on this one. So we'll leave them. A little silly, I know, but I like it. Cooper is joining us, and he's about to be dropped off here shortly, so I needed to get as much of his enclosure completed as possible. I was unsure of his exact size. His previous owners, or current owners I guess at this moment, had told me that he was 22 years old and sent me a few photos, but I really couldn't gauge from the photos just how large or how small he is. So I decided to make the enclosure as large as possible with the boards that I had already. You'll see the dogs running back and forth. They were certainly enjoying being outside and checking out exactly what I was doing. I got the majority of the enclosure completed prior to Cooper's arrival, and it was pretty much perfect timing, so I went off camera there for a minute as they had pulled into the driveway. We chatted with them for a bit, and then we brought Cooper over to explore his new enclosure. John, of course, had to show them all of the other Tortoise residents here, and they were enamored by everybody, and what a great life Cooper's going to have. You could tell that they really cared for him and took wonderful care of him. So as I said, he was 22 years old and they had had him since a hatchling. And they, of course, life changes. After 22 years, my goodness, does life change. So we're just so glad that they reached out to us. This is what we're here for, and we were able to take him in. We left Creed out in the yard while we were giving the tour so that he could wander around a bit and explore, and you see that he stays pretty close. The dogs continuously go and check up on him, and he found some grass to eat. We really enjoyed spending time with them, learning about their story and all of their life that they've had with Cooper. I've been asked many times why we have multiple enclosures for the tortoises versus having one large enclosure. Well, this particular species of tortoise, the African Sulcata or the spur-thighed tortoise, is typically found when they are in the wild alone, and they're not that social. However, personality dependent, you can certainly house multiple sulcatas in the same enclosure. As you will see later in the video, and I think we also showed it earlier in the video as well, that Pan and Artemis do live in the same enclosure. We tested their personalities together and put them out in the yard to ensure that they didn't really care for each other, were kind of interested, but that there was no aggression whatsoever with either one of them. We do closely monitor this, and we check on them daily, of course, and should there ever be any aggression between the two of them, we would keep them separated. So for now, Creed, Thor, and Cooper all live in separate enclosures. I have brought Creed out with Artemis and Pan to see how he reacted towards them, just out in the yard, and Creed immediately was super fixated on both of them and wouldn't leave them alone, so I knew it was best that Creed stays by himself. You'll see here, Creed continues to wander around the yard and just enjoys the company of all of us and the dogs, and of course, grazing as much as he possibly can on all of that luscious grass. So it's been a couple of days. Cooper's been here at the sanctuary. His previous owner said he does like to climb, so we went 3 boards high on his enclosure where there isn't another fence. We did only go 2 boards high there. In the event he does climb, he can't get anywhere, so if he does start climbing over there, I'll go and take another board and go 3 high. He's already been in and out of his water a little bit, so we'll clean that out tomorrow. Gave him a sunning or a shade area here, and he quickly put himself to bed. Now this is obviously a summer enclosure. There's no heat here, and he'll move to a winter enclosure over the next couple of months where he'll have a heated doghouse to sleep in at night, but he's good to go here in his little makeshift burrow. And as soon as I put this together the other night, he went right in there and laid down and went right to sleep. And then over here you can see we also expanded the littles enclosure. So Artemis and Pan were in this section of their enclosure, and it was clear it was just not big enough for them, and we'd prefer to give them as much space as possible. So they've got 2 hibiscus plants in here, a shaded area as well for them, and Pan can't stay out of his water, so it is notoriously and constantly filthy. Cannot keep it clean. As soon as I dump it and rinse it out, he's right back in there. That's Artemis there. And you can see we just moved the boards and extended their enclosure this way. Here comes Pan to check everything out. And so then at night, they do sleep together. So they'll cozy up in there together. And again, also summer enclosure for them. And we have a spider plant here that will provide a little bit of shade, plus as it grows out and down, they can eat off of it. So everybody's wild and crazy right now this evening before going to bed. You can hear the cicadas or cicadas, whichever way you want to say it, going wild right now. Here comes Artemis on this side, and then this is Thor. Hey, big guy. And it's just pretty crazy to see the size difference. This is the same species of tortoise, and obviously Thor is just much larger and older than Artemis.